The big question is the government telling the country the full truth on what's happening on the border? Should it be revealing all, or should it not, in the interests of national security? I'm joined by Ajay Shukla, Defence and Strategic Affairs analyst who's been tracking this story for months, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Member of Parliament of the BJP, Gaurav Gogoi, MP of the Congress. Thank you all very much for joining us. Let's get each of your perspectives on this. Before I come to the politicians, I want to come to you, Ajay Shukla. Give us a sense, what did you gather from the Defence Minister's speech? Is the government levelling with the country as to what is happening on the border? How much can the government really reveal about the situation along the line of actual control?
Rajdeep, first of all, the Defence Minister actually stated that there were several things that could not be revealed due to operational constraints. And in that, I have to say, I buy that. I support him on that. When two armies are face to face, when there's a tactical face-off underway, everything cannot be revealed. That having been said, it is notable that the government chose deliberately not to have a discussion on it and to restrict itself to just a statement. Clearly, there is a certain defensiveness to the government's approach, and that's not surprising given the circumstances. It's also notable that the whole package that Rajnath Singh presented was wrapped in the colors of the flag. You know, hum apne jawanon ke saath kadam se kadam mila ke chalte jayenge, and so on. It was motherhood and apple pie stuff. Nobody can argue with that. At a time like this, the country does line up and does tend to line up behind its soldiers. So that was fully taken advantage of. But also remarkable, Rajdeep, was the fact that Rajnath Singh appears to be the government's most credible voice on this entire issue. They didn't feel Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has obviously made a wrong statement that time when he said after the all-party meeting that na koi ghusa hua hai. That was proved wrong. Amit Shah went last night into hospital for sort of treatment. And that left Rajnath Singh. Rajnath has emerged as a sort of popular and as a credible voice, right, and has tended to stick as close to truth as possible. But even he, this time, he chose not to admit incursions. He chose to use veiled language to sort of dodge the issue, as it were.
Interesting. Whether the government how far does the government want to go to admit incursion? Sudhanshu Trivedi, before I come to you and Gaurav Gogoi, just listen into what Prime Minister Modi had said in June. I'm going to contrast it with what Rajnath Singh said today. This is what the Prime Minister had said after an all-party meeting.
पूर्वी लद्दाख में जो हुआ, उसको लेकर आपने रक्षा मंत्री जी और विदेश मंत्री जी को सुना भी और प्रेजेंटेशन को भी देखा। न वहां कोई हमारी सीमा में घुस आया है, न ही कोई घुसा हुआ है, न ही हमारी कोई पोस्ट किसी दूसरे के कब्जे में है।
Sudhanshu Trivedi, what is the truth? What the Prime Minister said in June or what Rajnath Singh says today? Have there been transgressions or not? That's the truth that the country needs to know, surely.
Rajdeep, in my opinion, there is no difference in both the statements. Prime Minister has categorically said, none of our post has been captured and no one has come inside and captured. Yes, transgression was done. Transgression means somebody came and it was opposed, and they went back. And that was also on the website at one point of time with the Defence Ministry, as the report is being sent every week. So that is being posted on the website. So transgression word was there. And transgression, as Defence Minister has clearly said, there is a difference when you say that intrusion and capture. There is a distinct difference between the words intrusion and capture and transgression. So, and on the contrary, I would like to say
so what are we saying? What are we saying? The Chinese have intruded but not captured? Sudhanshu ji, what are we saying? Chinese have intruded but not captured?
you know very well that LAC and LOC is a different. That in LOC there is an inch by inch definition of meter by meter definition is there. This is India, this is Pakistan. In China, there is a kilometers of area in which their line of military control, our line of military control, and in between both the forces go on and having the movement. But they try to transgress their area of military control into that area which is being agreed by both the countries that nobody will try to come inside. So they were forced back. So there was no confusion about it. But unfortunately, what happened, if you go by the history, last 71 years, for the first time, China has said that India has come inside their allies. Can you quote a single instance in the last 71 years? So that is the difference that China is feeling uncomfortable. But unfortunately, if a discussion would have taken place in Parliament, it would have given a message that India is a divided house, which should not have been the word.
Let me take that to Gaurav Gogoi. Gaurav Gogoi, the BJP's view is we don't want a discussion on this because this is a sensitive issue. We cannot be seen as a divided house. Why should the Congress be asking Parliament or the Defence Minister the question that Rahul Gandhi keeps asking, has China occupied Indian territory? Is that a question that should be answered in Parliament at this stage while the two sides are still engaged in some kind of disengagement and talks?
Rajdeep, today in Parliament, every political party was ready to stand up and send a message of solidarity with the Indian army and send a tough message to China. But what the BJP government did, they allowed the minister to make a statement and did not allow any other political party to speak. Is the army the sole property of the BJP government? The Indian army belongs to all of us and we're proud of them. And today it was their right to hear from all political parties messages of support and solidarity. But they denied that. Why? Because there is an extraordinary situation where the BJP government has contradicted the Prime Minister's own statement. The Prime Minister says there has been no intrusion, nobody has entered. The government through its various sources is saying, no, the Chinese have transgressed across the LAC. So it's an extraordinary situation and therefore it was incumbent that the government come true. Somebody is misleading the nation.
No, I'm not able to understand Gaurav Gogoi.
And that is what Rahul Gandhi has been asking.
Do you want the government to admit in Parliament that the Chinese have occupied, as is being claimed, areas around Pangong Tso till Finger 8? Do you want them to admit this on the floor of the House, or should this be left first to see it's an evolving fluid situation along the line of actual control? Why can't the Congress be a little bit more patient?
The government of India deserves to tell the people of India the truth and not mislead. When satellite images are showing one thing, it is wrong for the Prime Minister to mislead the people of his country. And Congress wants one thing. When will status quo ante be returned and restored? The Prime Minister does not mention it. Today, the Defence Minister did not mention it. The government of India has all the means to take back the land occupied by Chinese troops. We support the government of India if they want to take back the land. But now, nowhere do they talk about status quo ante. Now they're talking about historic accords in the minister's statement. These accords have been trashed by the Chinese government. The Chinese government engages India in talks while at the same time encroaching upon Indian territory in Arunachal Pradesh and kidnapping 5 young people. So we want the government of India to send a strong message to China that we are not going to let bilateral relationship move forward without solving the boundary issue. We want the government of India to come clear.
To be fair, the Defence Minister did give a strong signal saying that India will not compromise its territorial integrity and sovereignty and was ready for any situation. But very quickly, Sudhanshu Trivedi, why is the government unable to tell us whether the status quo ante is going to be resolved or not?
Rajdeep ji, the problem is they are neither having faith on the statement of the ministry, neither having faith of the statement of the military, neither having faith in the statement of Prime Minister, and nor having the faith in the statement of the Chinese government, which has said that we have entered into their territory. So from where they can get the satisfaction? Because their track record is very well known. In Balakot, when the Air Force has done PC, they have raised the question, ki kitne mare the, ped gire the, ki kauwe mare the. And when surgical strike, Director General Military Operations has done PC, still they were having a question and saying surgical strike. तो मैं तो ये नहीं समझ पा रहा हूँ भाई किससे समझेंगे? भारत का विचार समझिए तो समझ लीजिए, चीन का समझ लीजिए तो समझ लीजिए. अब कोई समझ के ना समझना चाहे तो वो नासमझ नहीं है और उसे समझाया नहीं जा.
Let me come to Ajay Shukla. Ajay Shukla, the one issue of course is status quo ante to the situation that existed before May,
Rajdeep,
when allegedly the Chinese made the incursions. I want to understand from you, did you get any sense from what the defense minister said that India has a concrete plan to ensure that the status quo ante is restored?
The concrete plan, I think, was covered in that defense ministry statement that he cannot talk about certain tactical realities that are existing at this point in time. I would imagine he was referring to the build-up of Indian troops on the along the border, the sort of operations that they're taking to occupy tactically dominating heights, and basically their day-to-day tussle against the PLA, which is very much underway on the border right now, according to all my sources. So I don't think there's a question of any sort of doubts about what the Indian Army is doing or that it's taking steps to recover its lost territory. But this status quo ante is never actually explicitly mentioned now by BJP spokespersons or by the ministers, for the simple reason that the Prime Minister has chosen to take the stance that no incursions have taken place. The Chinese have not whoosed into Indian territory. Now, in that, he is in line with the Chinese statements, as Sudhanshu Trivedi just ironically said. So the Prime Minister is in line with the Chinese statements in that saying that all the territory that the PLA has occupied is not Indian territory, it is Chinese territory. So in that sense, he's ceding territory to the Chinese. That is contrary to Indian national interests. But remember that it is Rajnath Singh who has said, on one occasion he said there is no guarantee that the PLA will withdraw from Indian territories. On another occasion, a sort of a statement was put up on the MOD website, which was later retracted, which explicitly admitted sort of incursions by the Chinese. I don't think there's really anyone in this country except a handful of BJP spokespersons who believe that the Chinese are not in Indian territory. Otherwise, what is this whole kerfuffle all about?
Okay.
What is the status quo ante that we're choosing to restore? So I think it would be good, and it would be good for our flexibility of action as a country to admit the incursions and to say that we're going to do what it takes to evict them and to use some of the language that Rajnath Singh used today.
I have to stop there. I've run out of time. I wish we had more time. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Gaurav Gogoi, Ajay Shukla, I think you put this issue in perspective from different points of view. Clearly, this is a sensitive issue that will continue to, in a way, play out over the next few weeks. Let's hope that peace prevails rather than war clouds.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.